What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Marketing Genius Podcast. I'm pumped, excited, amped up today to talk to Mr. Jay Baer, who is, like I said, kind of in the pre-show, quite an accomplished guy. And he's agreed to stop by today and add a ton of value to you guys. So let's kind of dive right into this. Jay, thanks so much for stopping by the podcast.
Grant, you bet. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
So let's dive right into this. Who is Jay Baer? Like, how did you get to where you are today? Tell us your story.
So I started in digital as long ago as you could have been in digital. I started in 1993 when domain names were literally free. You could get whatever domain name you wanted and pay nothing for it. I've only made two good decisions in my life, Grant. I convinced my wife to marry me, which is the hardest I've ever worked at anything. And I got involved in the internet before anybody else. And I've had the good sense to stay involved ever since. So I've had a series of professional services companies throughout the years. My current firm, Convince and Convert, works with many of the world's biggest brands on social media strategy, content strategy, digital strategy, and word of mouth strategy. So we're all virtual. We help brands get better at these kind of things. And then I spend a lot of my time traveling around, giving speeches, writing books, and doing podcasts.
That is awesome. Awesome. I can relate when it comes to getting the wife to marry me. I had to try pretty hard myself. My wife kind of jokes about that every chance she gets. So, in your mind, you're a guy that is an early adopter, super early adopter. You've seen a lot of things happen. You've seen the internet evolve. You've seen probably a lot of industries evolve in your kind of history, career doing this. In your mind, why is it so important for businesses to have a brand?
Well, I think more than a brand, it's having a story for your customers to tell. And that's a lot of the work that we're doing now around word of mouth strategy. My new book, Talk Triggers. The best way to grow any business is for your customers to grow it for you. One of my favorite sayings is from Robert Stevens, who was the founder of Geek Squad, the services arm for Best Buy. Robert said once that advertising is a tax paid by the unremarkable. And that's not 100% true, but it's pretty true. The best possible situation you can find yourself in business is that your customers are your best marketers. They want to become your sales force. They want to tell your story. And the mistake that most businesses make in real estate or otherwise is assuming that competency creates conversation. That if you just run a good business, people will notice that and talk about it. But that's not actually how the world works. I don't know everybody tuning in today. I probably know some of you. But I know this for sure. Nobody has ever said, Grant, let me tell you about this perfectly adequate experience I just had. Like, nobody says that. Why? Because it's a shitty story to tell. It's a shitty story to listen to. Right? We've got to give our customers something specific to talk about and share. And that's how you get new customers for free. So, you absolutely have to have a brand, but more than that, you have to have a story that customers want to tell about some element of your customer experience. Like, there's a guy I know, a good friend of mine, owns a ton of rental properties here in Bloomington. It's a huge college town where I live. One of the biggest universities, Indiana University, is right like there. And he runs this place called Sarge Rentals. He's got, a few dozen units, 100 units, something like that. It's 95%, 98% college students that rent from him. His deal is when you move in, you get a customized branded beer pong set, right? And it says Sarge Rentals on, and all the ping pong balls and the whole thing, and it's a little thing, but it's something that all of those students tell their friends about. And the next time somebody else needs a rental, oh, Sarge, they're the beer pong guys.
I love it. And that kind of leads into a really next great question. We work with a lot of real estate professionals who a lot of which believe they don't really have an interesting story. So how do you kind of start to build that when you feel like you don't have that, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, everybody does. You just have to do something to make it work. I wrote a whole book once called Utility for Real Estate, which is all about how real estate professionals can acquire customers by being more helpful, which is one of the ways you get word of mouth, being more helpful than you think you should. Like, I wrote a story once about this guy, Joe Manusa, who's a realtor in Tallahassee, Florida. Really interesting guy. He only represents sellers, right? If you want to buy a house, he doesn't do that. And he also only represents sellers, at least at the time I wrote the story, between $200,000 and $400,000. So if you got a big fancy house, not your guy. Well, if you're in that price point, 200 to 400, chances are you don't have a ton of upside equity in your home, and everybody knows that. So it's really common in that segment to think, well, I could hire a realtor, or, hey, you know what? I could sell this house myself, and then I could keep the 6% commission. That might be a good idea. So what most real estate professionals do is they create a website and some other crap trying to tell you that you don't know anything and they know everything because they do this professionally. Like the whole website is use a realtor. Don't try this at home. Like don't DIY this. You'll screw it up. Joe's different. Joe sat down and wrote a 62-page, totally free, downloadable PDF. It's all over his website called How to Buy a Home on Your Own in Florida. Like step by step, exactly how to do it, who to call, forms to fill out, process, sequences. So I interviewed him. I said, Joe, I don't get this, man. It seems to me like you're giving people exactly what they need to not hire you. And he said, Jay, I understand why you think that. But what you don't understand is that people get to about page 19 and they say, holy cow, it is so much harder to sell a house on my own than I thought. What was I thinking? This is crazy. It's his number one source of customers because his name, email address, phone number on every page. So you just have to figure out, like, whatever side of the business you're in, what does your customer really need? What are they actually afraid of? And then you figure out a way to take that away.
Yeah, I love it. One of my favorite quotes is, one of the easiest ways to build a service-based business is to teach and educate and then very simply justify, which sounds like an exact replication of what that PDF has in place. And it's something that we really try to work to get the point across to a lot of real estate agents who, unfortunately, some have, somewhat of that limited mindset that I can't give my secrets away.
Yeah, because you have secret sauce, which you don't.
Which nobody
there is no secret
has.
Sauce, right?
Absolutely.
You do not know anything that somebody else doesn't know. And the sooner you realize that the secret to success is to take everything you know and give it away one bite at a time, the better off you will be. What you want to do is give away information snacks so that you can sell knowledge meals. Right? So your free information, your knowledge that you give away, whether it's a video, a podcast, blog, tweets, Facebook Live, whatever, that's what convinces people you're the right answer. It's a scarcity mindset that says, I can't tell you these things because then you won't hire me. But here's something I've learned. I've been in business for 30 years. A list of ingredients does not make someone a chef. Right? Just because you told them some things about real estate doesn't mean they don't need you. And I'll tell you something else. If that person does decide to do it themselves after learning from you, that's not a client you wanted anyway. If they're thinking, okay, I could just figure this out on my own, or I could hire a professional, I think I'll figure it out on my own. Good riddance. You don't want that person because they don't respect what you do, right? It's okay. It's okay to let them do it themselves. In fact, Robert, Robert at Geek Squad, I saw him at a conference once, and this was many, many years ago. It was probably 9-10 years ago. And Best Buy had a YouTube channel, early days YouTube channel with like hundreds and hundreds of videos on it, right? And all these videos were like how to reset your VCR and all this stuff back in the day, how to change your hard drive. And so I asked him at this event, I said, Robert, I don't really get this because, you guys are in the business of fixing stuff. Yeah, but yet you've got all these videos showing people how to fix it themselves. It's like, yeah, so how does that work? So our best customers are the people who think they can fix it themselves. And maybe they can this time with our help, but then eventually they get over their head. And who do they call first? Us, because we're the ones who taught them to begin with.
Yeah. Which that's what I was about to say is that by proxy still comes with its kind of referral benefits, its fringe benefits.
Absolutely.
When you teach somebody how to do something, you become that leader in somebody's mind. So if they do need something and they can't do it, you're the absolute first person they're going to call.
One of the things I say in my book, Utility, is if you help somebody, let me say it that way. If you sell something, you get a customer today. But if you help somebody, you can get a customer for life. And the problem is most people, and I think this is, no offense intended, particularly true in real estate, do not have the patience to market that way, to market from a position of helpfulness. They're always like, okay, we got to put up some numbers today, and you're better off, right, sowing the seeds and then reaping benefits that are 2, 3, 10x a little bit down the road.
I would have to agree. What is your opinion then, kind of based off that? Right now, one of the biggest conversations in the industry is probably around lead generation. It's one of the most important parts to a lot of people's business, especially in the sales world. We've got companies like Zillow and Trulia, Realtor.com, all making big, weird, industry shaking moves. What is your belief? Did the real estate community cause these problems that they're now experiencing by needing immediate gratification, buying leads, or do you feel like they could have done something different? And this is just an opinionated question, but what are your thoughts?
I mean, everybody needs leads in every business. The competition inside the real estate business where everybody's going to say, well, if you're going to pay this for a lead, I'll pay a little more. It's almost like buying Google ads, right? And then it just keeps ratcheting up. Of course, Zillow is going to say, well, we'll just go this direction, because if people are going to keep buying it from us, we'll keep selling it. We'll keep selling more and more and more and more. But I've bought and sold a lot of real estate, managed properties, and a lot of things, have several home builder clients and a lot of other stuff. But I will tell you this, I don't know this to be true mathematically, but I definitely know it to be true anecdotally. Your best clients are not from leads that you buy. Your best clients are from people who call you because you did a good job for their friend. So if you really want to build your business, you should A, do an amazing job for everybody, but B, as I was mentioning earlier, I would focus on word of mouth. I would do one thing in the operations of your business that your clients completely notice and tell all their friends about. The biggest problem in the real estate business is that agents are interchangeable because nobody does anything different. And in a business where everything's interchangeable, money wins. Just like in Google search, money wins. Highest bid wins. And the same thing is going to be true in real estate if people don't start figuring out, like, what is your shtick? Like, what is the thing that you do that clients, even people you don't work with, even people you just meet and tour around, what story are they telling about you? Clean car, good guy? Come on. That's not a marketing strategy.
I love it. So how do I get started? How do I start to define who I want to be? How do I start to define who I want to work with? How do I start down this path?
Yeah, I think the first thing that really helps is to, and everybody in the business knows this intuitively, but it really helps to write it down, is kind of write down the customer journey. Say, okay, first way somebody could get aware of me is Google search, Zillow search, saw a sign, whatever, right? So that's kind of step one. Step two is maybe a website inquiry. Step three is maybe they come to the office. Step four, we do some look arounds, if you're a buy, sell, depending. Step five, step six, and actually map out all your different customer journey steps. Because what you want to do then is figure out something that you can do differently in one of those customer journey processes. Right. So one of the things that is true for my business as a speaker is there are a lot of professional speakers. There are a lot of professional marketing and customer experience speakers like I am. So you've got to do something that makes people remember you disproportionate to all the other speakers they may have seen. It's not a different dynamic from real estate in some ways. It's just national instead of local regional. So my thing is I always have crazy plaid suits. I've got like a dozen of these crazy plaid suits in different colors. So what I figured out, what one of the key kind of parts in my customer journey is interacting with the meeting planner before the event. Okay. Who's coming? What kind of people are they? How old are they? Where are they coming from? What are the themes of the event? We do that kind of phone call. But then after the phone call is over, I send them an email and says, oh, I forgot to tell you about this. Go to this website, special website. Web address is dressjbaer.com, dressjbaer.com. They go there, and it's a little app that I built where they can pick the suit. So they get to choose which of these suits I wear on stage. They pick the suit. It goes on my calendar so I know to pack it when I go travel. And then they're like, oh my God, that's the suit I picked. They tell everybody about it in the introduction. They tell their friends who are other meeting planners in other companies. It's just a decision I made to do something that they'll remember at one point of the process. And everybody in real estate should do the same thing, right? Like how many people give cheese basket, bottle of wine, whatever, as sort of a closing gift, right? So you walk into the house, it's a nice touch, don't get me wrong, but it's not memorable at all because everybody expects it, right? If you're going to give somebody something, give them something they haven't seen before.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love what you're talking about, especially as it pertains to, crafting the experience. that others are going to go through. When you're in real estate, you're in really a service-based industry. Like, that's your job. You're there to serve. And when you care a lot about the experience that others are going to have, it really can take you a long way. I've said this, I don't know how many times, we're a Facebook company, like not a Facebook company, but we're a Facebook ad organization. We teach Facebook ads. We serve service through Facebook advertising. We have softwares for Facebook advertising. And I always tell people, relationships have taken me farther than Facebook ads ever will.
Yeah.
Now, for me,
what you want to use your ads for is to
Facebook
amplify
ads
your differentiator.
started those relationships, right? Yep. So Facebook ads originated the experience, but it was me caring about that relationship and going all chips, caring about the experience that we created. That's what really expounded a lot of the success that people have. And I think that real estate agents, just like you said, how is somebody going to find me? Are they going to find it at Google, a yard sign, Facebook ads, Instagram? Figure out where it is that you want to be found. Most importantly, where your customers are hanging out, where the attention is, and then care a lot about the experience.
That's it. And what you can use ads for, once you have a thing that's your thing, right? So plaid suit guy thing, right? My Facebook ads, the ones we run for speakers, emphasize the suits, #pick plaid, right? So you come up with your thing and then you use Facebook to amplify that thing, right? It's a really nice synergy that way. So let's say you're a realtor who also is really good at harmonica. Just learned harmonica and I'm good at harmonica. Cool. That's dope. Play blues harmonica in a band on Fridays. Awesome. What I would do is every time I get a new client, before you get in the car, I would do a little harmonica solo. And then you would give the client a harmonica. Just want you to have one of these. It's awesome. If you ever played harmonica, it's super fun. That's it. Then you start running Facebook ads, which is you talking about local market conditions and doing little harmonica riffs. Now, what ad is going to work better? An ad of you just sitting here on camera like this, hire me to sell your house, or an ad showing you playing harmonica, telling you the same thing?
Love it. Give the same advice. We have a dear client of ours. His name is Andrew. He is a chef that got into real estate. And I'm like, dude, I don't know why you're not hosting cooking shows at your open houses.
I'd be doing restaurant reviews every Friday.
Yes, 1,000%. And I know that Andrew's going to listen to this. So Andrew, continue to expound on some of the success you're having as the gourmet agent, which is what he branded himself as.
Good. That's good. Good start.
And, continue to succeed with that for sure.
The problem is this. There's a lot of agents, right? Like a lot, too many. I think we can all agree. And the fact that you are a real estate agent is not interesting at all. Right. Because you can't swing a cat without hitting one. Whatever you do as your hobby, that's interesting, right? If you're the realtor who grows prize-winning roses, I'm way more likely to remember that than the fact that you sell houses or whatever, right? And same thing with Andrew. So take whatever you're about personally and lead with that. Everybody's so scared. Well, no one cares about whether I grow roses. No, it doesn't matter whether they care. It matters whether they'll remember it. That's the key.
Yeah, 100%. I think when you look at consumerism and you look at a potential buyer and seller, when real estate has kind of been flipped over the last several years, and it used to, whenever you wanted to buy a house, you went and got a loan, then you got a realtor, and then you went and looked at a house. Now, thanks to the internet, you look for houses, you find out you need a realtor, and then you go find a loan officer. Excuse me, I'm about to sneeze. One second. Okay, sorry. And it's totally gotten flipped. So there's these direct marketing strategies that you can deploy to generate leads. But once you have a lead, it's relationship time. It's time to really let the brand fly. And it's a beautiful thing that we can go out and we can target our attention at people that we know are wanting to buy and sell a house. That's beautiful. We can directly target market those types of people, but we have to figure out how to make ourselves interesting, like you're talking about.
Well, because then if you do it right, they tell your story to other people. So the next buyer, you don't have to buy the lead.
Yes, which is why every deal you do, walk in the front door, should be worth 2 or 3 more.
Yes,
1,000
at least. Yeah,
absolutely. I love it, man. We could probably sit here and talk all day, but I know you got stuff to do. I appreciate you so much for dropping by the show and adding some value.
My pleasure.
If I was in the real estate industry right now and I wanted to reach out and connect with you, what's the single greatest way for me to do that?
2 options. One, the new book is all about word of mouth. You can find that at talktriggers.com. Also a weekly show all about word of mouth, talktriggersshow.com, podcast and YouTube. But specifically for this audience, you really ought to look at my book, Utility for Real Estate, because it's only about real estate. It's Kindle only. It's from Penguin, so it's a legit, awesome book. $2.99, which is quite a deal. Utility for real estate. That's the stuff you should do.
Awesome. We will make sure that we link that in the show notes, guys. I highly, 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 highly recommend that you check out his book. Go buy it and let us hear about your thoughts. I think that you're going to glean a lot from it, and you learn more about how to be interesting in real estate, which will help you grow in a way that right now I know you're trying to figure out how to. So, Jay, thanks so much for stopping by, adding some value to our listeners, man. We really appreciate it.
Grant, thanks so much for having me. Good show.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Marketing Genius podcast. We will see you on the next one. Thanks. Peace.